You guys come up with these ideas and I'm just sitting back like,
how did he just do that?
I'm Josh Allen, LOL. Told me I should do what if every starting quarterback went to the team their college was closest to. So guys like Tom Brady, who played in Michigan. Well, if you know your geography, then you know Tom Brady is now a Detroit Lion. Now, I know a lot of you guys play MUT, and sometimes you don't feel like grinding to get the best team. So if you want to just buy some training or coins or players, head on over to MUTreserve.com. Use my code CK, and not only will you be rich one day, but you'll also get 15% off your order. So Patrick Mahomes, who played in Texas Tech, the second closest team was the Texans, but the closest was the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, Dallas most likely is gonna make it to the Super Bowl. Now for guys like Russell Wilson, who played in multiple colleges, we listed the closest team to each of those colleges. So for instance, NC State, the closest one to that was Carolina. The Panthers were 162 miles away, but the Packers were only 138 miles away
from Wisconsin.
That's closer than the Panthers were to NC State, and that was the tiebreaker. That's how we're gonna do it for every quarterback that went to multiple universities. So Wilson is now in Green Bay. As for the former Green Bay #1 quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who played at Cal when he was in college, man, the closest NFL stadium to them was the San Francisco 49ers, only 44 miles away. So that's where we have them. Lamar Jackson went to Louisville. Second closest NFL team was the Ravens. There was someone closer, man, the Washington football team, less than 10 miles away. Deshaun Watson played college ball at Clemson. The second closest NFL team was the Panthers at 137 miles, but the Falcons were the closest NFL team at 120 miles, so he's the new starter in ATL. Josh Allen was the only quarterback in this experiment to play at Wyoming, and the only NFL team even close to Wyoming was the Denver Broncos, so he's the new starter. In college, Dak Prescott played at Mississippi State. Tennessee was only 264 miles away, and that was the closest NFL team, so Dak is now the starter for the Titans. Ryan Tannehill played at Texas A&M. The closest NFL team to their stadium was the Houston Texans. Something about the Colts, man, they love older quarterbacks apparently. Brees played college ball at Purdue, and the Colts were only 69 miles away, so that's where we have them. Matty Ice played college ball at Boston College, and the first team you think about when you hear Boston is the New England Patriots. That's where Ryan is, only 26 miles away. Baker played college ball at Oklahoma. The closest NFL team to their stadium was the Cowboys at 192 miles away, so he's in Dallas. Phillip Rivers played college ball at NC State, and it don't take a genius to figure out, that the closest NFL team is the Panthers, 162 miles away. That's where we have them. Derek Carr, the only guy to play at Fresno State in this experiment. The closest NFL team was the Niners at 159 miles away, so he's gonna be backing up Aaron Rodgers. Now, Kyler was another guy that played college ball at multiple universities. The first one, Oklahoma. We know that the closest NFL team is the Cowboys at 192 miles away, but he also played at Texas A&M, and we know that Houston is the closest NFL team at only 100 miles away. So based on that information, we have him on the Texans, backing up Ryan Tannehill. Stafford played college ball at Georgia. I already knew ATL was in Georgia, so this one was pretty easy. We have him on the Falcons. Cousins played for Michigan State, and the Lions are the closest team to them, so we have him in Detroit, backing up Tom Brady. Big Ben played at Miami University, not the University of Miami. That one, the Hurricanes, not that one. He played on the one that's in Ohio, and that is closest to the Cincinnati Bengals, only 40 miles away. So Cincy has themselves a new starting quarterback. Justin Herbert played in Oregon. There's only one NFL team even remotely close to Oregon. That's the Seattle Seahawks. So you lose out on Wilson, but you still have Herbo. Teddy B also, just like Lamar, played at Louisville, and we already know that the football team is the closest NFL team. Can't believe there's only one quarterback in this experiment that played at LSU, and we already know it's Joe Burrow. So now he's the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, who are only 80 miles away. This is the first NFL team to get 3 starting quarterbacks on their roster. Of course, it's a Cali team, man. Jared Goff played at Cal, same as Aaron Rodgers, so now he's on the Niners. Now, I feel like a lot of people are waiting to see where I would end up putting Cam. Well, you know, it wasn't my decision. I literally just used the tiebreaker and what we've already been doing. So he played at Auburn. That's where he won his Heisman. You know, the closest NFL team to them was the Atlanta Falcons, only 110 miles away. He also played at Blinn, and the closest NFL team to them was the Houston Texans, 76 miles away. But first, before any of that, he played at Florida, backed up Tim Tebow, and the closest NFL team to them is the Jacksonville Jaguars, only 74 miles away. So he's the new starter in Jacksonville. The only quarterback to play at Eastern Illinois in this experiment was Jimmy Garoppolo. And the closest NFL team to them, it was actually Indianapolis. The second NFL team to get 3 starting quarterbacks ends up being the Falcons. They get Tua, who played at Alabama. They're only 203 miles away. I used the highest overall quarterback from the Eagles, which ended up being Carson. And we all know he played at North Dakota State. The closest NFL team to them was the Minnesota Vikings, 241 miles away. So he is now the starter for Minnesota. If we were doing this for 2K, there'd be a lot more players that came from Duke, but it's the NFL, so Daniel Jones is the only one in this experiment. And the closest NFL team to Duke Stadium was the Panthers at 143 miles away. So he's going to be backing up Rivers in Carolina. Nick Foles, the highest rated quarterback on the Bears, played college ball at Arizona. And you want to know which NFL team is closest to Arizona? Arizona. At only 131 miles away, so he's the new starter for the Cardinals. Alex Smith played at Utah, and this might be the one college that's just far away from every NFL team, because the closest NFL team was the Raiders at 427 miles away. This one was a toss-up. Sam Darnold played at USC, and the closest stadium to them was the SoFi Stadium. The Chargers and the Rams Stadium only 12 miles away. So I just flipped a coin and it ended up going to the Rams. So he's the new starter for them. Drew Lock played college ball at Mizzou. Closest NFL team to them was the Kansas City Chiefs, 118 miles away. And then last but not least, Gardner Minshew played at East Carolina and Washington State. Washington State, the closest NFL team to them was the Seahawks at 385 miles. Whereas the closest NFL team to East Carolina was the Panthers at only 250. So we have him in Carolina, backing up Daniel Jones and Phillip Rivers. So a lot of these quarterbacks will not actually be playing, but they are in a new location, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who do you have coming out on top in this experiment? Do not forget to destroy that like button. These take some time, you know, a lot of research and stuff goes into it. Also subscribe if you're new. I'd greatly appreciate it, and it's free. I mean, why not, man? Let's go ahead and simulate and see what happens. First, we got to check the stats. So Joe Burrow killed it in New Orleans, just like he did back in college, man. On the Seahawks, Herbo had a decent season. Haskins was a starter in Pittsburgh. Tanny killed it in Houston. That's the best ratio, maybe best season we've seen so far. Dak threw so many interceptions, was not expecting that. Even with AJ Brown, John New, just a lot of weapons. Carson killed it in Minnesota. Kaepernick was the starter in Chicago. I don't know if that's the closest team to his college, man. We only did starters in Cincinnati. Big Ben, 27 touchdowns, 7 receptions. Matt Barkley had a good season in Buffalo. Josh Allen killed it in Denver. Case Keenum was a starter in Cleveland. So a lot of these teams didn't have former starting quarterbacks, if you know what I'm saying. Blaine Gabbert starting Tampa Bay. A lot of teams just weren't close to colleges. That's what it came down to. Nick Foles with a nasty season. I love to see it, man. Tyrod ended up starting for the Chargers. Drew Lock only threw 4 interceptions, man. That's really good. Drew Brees killed it in Indianapolis. Patrick Mahomes only 28 touchdowns. So maybe Zeke got going. Yeah, he did. 1,400 yards. Wow. I still think that team is the team to beat, man. Mahomes on the Cowboys. Look at Fitzmagic, though. He ended up being a starter because Tua went elsewhere. Hurts, same thing with Wentz. Deshaun Watson, almost 40 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards and less than 7 interceptions. Rodgers, kind of disappointing. That's very rare to see from someone of his caliber. Look at Colt McCoy. Like, some of these backups ended up killing it. Cam Newton had himself a good season and a little too many interceptions. Joe Flacco ended up starting for the Jets. Tom Brady had a nice season for the the Lions. Russell Wilson, probably with the best season we've seen so far. 40 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Rivers had a decent season on the Panthers. Look at Matty Ice back in Boston, killing it. 39 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Alex Smith playing on the Raiders had himself a great season. Sam Darnold did okay on the Rams, 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Huntley ended up starting on the Ravens. Look at Lamar. Not a bad season at all for the football team. But the MVP went to Deshaun Watson on the Falcons. Wilson was second. Matty Ice ended up third. 14-2 for Wilson and the Packers. Jesus. Best team in the NFC. The Colts with Drew Brees ended up with the best record in AFC. Look at all these 10-6 teams. And then all these 9-7s, man. That is crazy. But our Super Bowl matchup ends up being Rodgers and the Niners versus Josh Allen and the Broncos. So they begin with the run. Melvin Gordon trucking folks, getting them the first down. Everyone should know that if the Broncos get a great quarterback, Drew Lock turns out to be a great quarterback, they're gonna be contenders every year.
Wait till you see the no.
Rodgers on a play action, getting it out the Mostert, just making dudes look silly. But just like the Broncos, the Niners are in a similar situation where their roster is filthy. They're just looking for that difference maker at quarterback. So once again, I'm not surprised to see them in the Super Bowl either, man. Third down is 7. Rodgers throwing an interception. I need to stop jinxing these people. So if every starting quarterback went to the NFL team closest to their college, Josh Allen and the Broncos would come out on top according to Madden. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. You guys are amazing. All the support. Cannot thank you enough. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.